Today I'm basically going to turn this page about volleyball sports all about hockey sports using JS only. This is also technically part 2 of day 385 of web dev. Part 1 I basically made this page, and part 2 is, just me converting it to hockey. Only thing I changed from the template is I gave a span tag to the home so that when I'm not hovering over it, it still has that border bottom that appears because I want people to know, hey, you're in the home page. And I added that right here, and I gave it an ID of home. And then the second thing is I added an ID sport to the sports, to the volleyball, because that is the subject that I want to change. And yeah, that's literally it. All right, so for JS, the first things first, I'm going to target the volleyball, which is, the main thing, and I'm going to change it to hockey. So first of all, I'm going to create a variable called sport, and then I'm going to access the volleyball itself. So I'll go to the document, and then I'll use the function get element by ID because I know that I gave it an ID of sport. As you can see over here, I gave it an ID of sport. And then I can go ahead and do sport.innerHTML because that's what I want to change. It's innerHTML and set it equal to hockey, and it'll be changed to hockey. And that's the first step in that. So the second thing would be the logo. Currently I have a volleyball logo. I don't want that. I want something to be hockey. So I have this over here. I'm just going to go ahead and recolor it to be white so that it's more prominent. Right click, copy image address, and then go over here. Now I have to first target the logo. If I look at the logo is actually over here and it has nothing in it within its HTML. Where I have the actual logo, the image, is over here in my CSS. It's literally over here as a background value. So what I have to do is I have to target the CSS style of this object logo. But first I have to actually target the logo. So let me do that. What is this? Go back. Hello? It's not letting me click out of this. Okay, there we go. So I'll do var logo and set that equal to document dot get element by ID because I gave it an ID of logo, and then I can do logo, but then here I'll access the style of the logo, and then I can access the background, which is the property in the styles, and then set that equal to its new URL, just like I would in CSS, but it has to be within quotations. But because it has to be within quotations, the quotations on the inside kind of mess up the quotations on the outside. And so you have to make sure that you put a backslash in front of the quotations, and then you can go ahead and paste the logo link in there, and then the logo should change to a hockey skate thingy. So that's perfect. Now the third thing is the background image. So the background image currently is about volleyball. So I went to Unsplash, try to find one like this, but here's the problem. It's not overlaid, and I'm looking for a way to access linear gradients because, for example, if I go to my CSS and I go to the showcase, whoops. All right, let me go to showcase. I have this problem where I have the background, but I also have a linear gradient along with the URL, and I have trouble accessing that linear gradient along with the URL using JavaScript. And so there's no way for me yet to put an overlay, because that's what the linear gradient does. It darkens the image over this image over here, and I can't use it, right, because it's too light and I have white text, so it's just not going to be visible. So I figured out a solution. I searched up this website that darkens images, and it's this one over here. I darkened it, I downloaded it, and then I went on Pinterest to upload it so that I can copy its image address to use it in CodePen, because CodePen for free doesn't allow you to upload images. If you have Pro, yes. But then the image was like too big, Pinterest couldn't do it, and so I went to this website Optimizilla, which I use a lot, to compress down the image. I downloaded it and then uploaded to Pinterest, and now I'm able to copy the image address, and the image is obviously overlaid, so I don't have to worry about that linear gradient anymore, but it is something that I still have to look into. Okay, so let's see. Now I have to actually target the showcase. So for the showcase, that's where the background image is. So that's the showcase over here. I gave it an ID of showcase. Again, it has nothing within its HTML that talks about the image. It's actually all up in here. This is literally the image over here. So again, just like the logo, I have to target its styles. So I'll do a variable called showcase, and I'll access it. So document dot get element by ID and put in showcase, and then I'll do showcase dot style dot background because that's the property, and set that equal to the URL inside there, backslash in front of the URLs, and then in the middle, paste that in there, and then the image should change into the hockey thing. Now here's the thing that I noticed when it comes to changing at least one property of an object in HTML. By the way, when I'm talking about objects, it's the elements, it's the nodes, you can use them interchangeably. So in this case, the object is a showcase. So when I change any property like the background, it apparently ignores every other property that I have because I have background size cover, and that is what allows the image to cover the size of its container, which in this case is the showcase. But apparently JavaScript just ignores that, and I have to like reiterate it in JavaScript. So I have to do showcase.style .background size, because that's the property, and set that to cover, and then it should not repeat and it should go back to normal. So now you'll be able to see it as one if I spelt it right. Background size style. Oh, it's a style that I didn't spell right. Okay, style. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Beautiful. Now the last thing that I have left to change is the explore link, because currently if I click on it, it takes me to a volleyball site, and that doesn't really make sense, right? Because this is all about hockey. So I need to change the address of that link. So the way that I can target this is if I just use, first of all, a variable called link list, because in this case, I'm going to use another function called, let's see, document.query selector all. And I'm going to make sure to put in this certain selector. So it's going to be A, and then in here I'm going to do href times equal, and then I'm going to put in something like volleyball, and I'm going to make sure there's a quotation, not quotation, a backslash before the quotation marks so that they don't cancel out the original ones. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and basically explain what this says or what this means. So it's basically looking for any A tags, any link tags, right, that its address has something to do with volleyball. And in this case, this one does. It has volleyball in its link. Let me show you in the HTML. It says volleyball. All right, probably should put a caps lock then, capital V. All right. And then because this is query selector all is a function that returns a list. And so in order to access anything within the list, even if it's one item, I have to iterate over it. So I have to do a for loop. So for, and then let me put in a semicolon. So over here, I'll call a variable link, set that to 0. And then my link, as long as my link is less than the link list length, then I can do link plus plus, the count can go up. And then for each link inside the link list, I can change its href to go to this Wikipedia page about hockey. And where's my code? Okay, paste that in there. And now if I save that and I go to explore, it brings me to the hockey Wikipedia page. Now here's a mistake that I had earlier or before. Sometimes it doesn't work because I had spaces in between the times, or like the start and the href. So in that case, if I click on explore, it doesn't work. It takes me to volleyball. So that's something that took me like literally like a whole 20 minutes to figure out. I was like, why is it not working? Why is it not working? And it's because I had a space right between href and the star, or the even the like what do you call it? The equal sign. And it's like such a ridiculous mistake, but it's just something so minor that just literally doesn't let you keep going. So that's a thing. And also, you know, just the notion of, you know, knowing when to iterate, knowing what functions return what, right? When it returns a list, when it returns an array, you have to make sure to use a for loop to iterate and to basically access those elements within those arrays or those lists or those collections, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Now this is all about hockey, which is pretty cool, and even the sign goes to hockey. Okay, and that is what it's looking like so far. All right, that's it for today. Bye.